In April 1986, the world witnessed one of the most devastating nuclear disasters in history. The explosion at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant released massive amounts of radiation into the environment, forcing tens of thousands of people to abandon their homes. Entire towns were evacuated, leaving behind a desolate region known today as the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone. For years, it was thought that no life could thrive in such a toxic place. But something unexpected has happened. The Chernobyl Exclusion Zone spans over 2,600 square kilometers, straddling the borders of Ukraine and Belarus. This vast area was once home to bustling communities, thriving agriculture, and dense forests. However, after the explosion at Reactor No. 4 in April 1986, everything changed. The release of radioactive materials, estimated to be hundreds of times greater than the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, rendered the area uninhabitable. Tens of thousands of residents were evacuated, leaving behind empty villages and abandoned infrastructure. Initially, it was believed that the intense radiation would decimate all forms of life in the affected zone. These fears were not unfounded. In the immediate aftermath, many animals exposed to high radiation doses perished. Forests closest to the reactor turned a deep reddish-brown due to radiation killing pine trees en masse. This area became known as the Red Forest. The soil itself became highly contaminated, further affecting plant life. For a time, much of the landscape seemed lifeless and alien, a stark reminder of the disaster's magnitude. Radiation hotspots varied across the zone, but the most severely affected areas were devoid of movement. Birds abandoned their nests, and mammals either fled or succumbed to the fallout. The once lush ecosystems appeared stripped of vitality. However, over the following months and years, certain species began to adapt to the challenging conditions. This gradual return marked the beginning of an unexpected transformation, one that would ultimately redefine how we understand nature's resilience in the face of catastrophic events. While the Red Forest remained a grim reminder of the disaster, it also became a symbol of nature's tenacity, with new growth emerging in unlikely places. But more than 35 years later, the exclusion zone has transformed. Today, it is home to a surprising variety of wildlife. From wolves and bison to eagles and even brown bears, animals have returned in significant numbers. How is this possible? And what does it mean for the long-term impact of human absence? Wolves are among the most studied animals in the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone, offering a unique glimpse into how large predators adapt to human absence. Researchers have noted that their population density within the zone is estimated to be 7 times higher than in nearby areas outside the exclusion boundary. These apex predators have established themselves as dominant figures in this unusual ecosystem, capitalizing on the lack of human interference. Without threats from hunting, habitat fragmentation, or vehicle collisions, wolves have not only survived but thrived. Their diet is varied, consisting of prey like deer, wild boar, and smaller mammals, all of which have also seen population increases. Packs of wolves roam freely, covering vast territories that include both forested regions and the skeletal remains of human settlements. Their presence helps regulate herbivore populations, ensuring that no single species overwhelms the available resources, a key aspect of maintaining ecological balance. Herbivores like deer, elk, and moose have likewise flourished, taking advantage of the lush, overgrown vegetation that has taken root in abandoned towns and farmland. The absence of human agriculture has allowed grasses, shrubs, and trees to spread unchecked, transforming once cultivated fields into dense meadows and forests. Trees have broken through the cracked pavement of roads, and vines climb the crumbling walls of buildings, creating a surreal, post-human wilderness. For these large herbivores, the overgrown vegetation provides an abundance of food year-round. The lack of human activity also means fewer disturbances, enabling them to breed and raise their young in relative safety. The herbivore's resurgence feeds directly into the ecosystem's predator-prey dynamics, supporting the growing wolf population as well as other carnivores, including foxes and lynx. This interdependence illustrates how the absence of humans has allowed natural cycles to reassert themselves, even in an environment touched by nuclear disaster. One of the most remarkable reintroductions to Chernobyl is the Przewalski's horse. This rare and endangered species, once nearly extinct, was released into the zone in the 1990s as part of a conservation effort. Today, these horses roam freely, their population steadily growing. They have adapted well to the environment, feeding on grasses and avoiding areas with the highest radiation. Even aquatic life has shown resilience. The rivers and lakes within the zone are now home to healthy populations of fish, including catfish and carp. While the water contains traces of radiation, the absence of industrial and agricultural pollution has allowed these ecosystems to recover surprisingly well. Birds have also made a strong comeback. Species like storks, eagles, and owls have been spotted nesting in the zone. Studies have shown that while some birds display signs of radiation exposure, such as minor genetic mutations, many continue to thrive. The exclusion zone has become an accidental refuge for these creatures, free from urban noise and habitat destruction. But this resurgence of wildlife does not mean the area is entirely safe. Radiation hotspots still exist, particularly near the reactor site. These areas remain dangerous for both humans and animals. Scientists have observed certain effects on wildlife, including reduced lifespans, lower reproductive success, and physical abnormalities in some cases. However, these impacts vary widely depending on the species and their exposure levels. Researchers from around the world continue to study the exclusion zone, using it as a natural laboratory. Their findings provide valuable insights into how ecosystems recover from extreme disturbances. One thing is clear: the absence of humans has had a profound impact on the environment. Without farming, logging, or urban expansion, the land has been allowed to heal, albeit under unique circumstances. Brown bears, a species not seen in the area for over a century, have been spotted in the zone in recent years. These sightings suggest that the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone may now be serving as a corridor for wildlife, connecting fragmented habitats and supporting species that require large territories. Despite these signs of recovery, it's important to remember that the exclusion zone remains a highly unusual environment. Radiation levels vary greatly across the area, and while some parts are relatively safe, others are still highly contaminated. Wildlife does not recognize these boundaries, which means some animals are likely exposed to harmful levels of radiation during their lifetimes. What the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone demonstrates is not a happy ending, but a complex and evolving story. It shows how life can adapt to challenges, but also how human activity can leave lasting scars on the environment. The absence of humans has allowed nature to reclaim the land, but the radiation will persist for thousands of years, shaping the future of this region. While we continue to study and learn from this unique environment, the exclusion zone remains a powerful symbol of both the fragility and strength of life on Earth. If you found this exploration insightful, don't forget to subscribe for more stories about our fascinating planet.